Meet the boys of Big Bang.
Big Bang!
They're Asia's, maybe even the world's biggest boy band. You may not have heard of them, but their songs dominate charts.
Wow, fantastic, baby.
Their concerts sell out global stadiums from Las Vegas to Toronto, and their fans are as wide-reaching as they are obsessed. The 5 members of this Korean pop group, G-Dragon, Taeyang, Top, Taesung and Sungmi, may look young, but this year marks their 10th anniversary, a milestone that celebrates their journeys from boys to men, rookies to superstars. Signing under the famous YG label in their teens, their portfolio not only boasts numerous award-winning albums, but films, television series, fashion and cosmetic labels. The list goes on. But with any great act, their days as a group may be numbered, as they soon will have to face the reality of South Korea's mandatory military service.
Good to see you. Hello.
This month on Talk Asia, we catch up with the 5 members in Seoul in a rare interview that celebrates their decade together and what could be the final act of Big Bang.
Big Bang, welcome. Thank you for doing this. Now, you are one of the biggest bands in the world at the moment. You are playing to massive stadiums.
Thank you for saying that.
Of course, I have to say it is true. Last year, you made more money than Maroon 5, the highest paid all-male group in America. You're bigger than all of the bands in South Korea. What makes you different?
일단 개성들이 다 틀린 것 같아요. 팀 같은 경우에는.
We all have different characteristics. When all 5 of us are together, I think people like that vivid energy that comes out on stage.
그리고 이게 어떤 무대라는 게 점점
Music tends to become a bit standardized after a while, but I think with the 5 of us, each of us brings our own personalities and talent on stage.
좀 재미가 다 다른 것 같아요. 처음부터 끝까지.
It's not a performance with just one color from beginning to end. There are also solo parts in between. There's this flow, and that's what we care about most. Doing some sort of surprise entry for the opening, performing some fast-tempo songs in between to get the crowd excited in the beginning, while giving them time to relax here and there. We'll also do some emotional songs, and then throw in fun parts to get rid of the boredom. We bring the excitement to a climax and burst in the end. We think a lot about this kind of flow.
단순하게 얘기하자면 뭐가
I think we can't help but to be different from the other groups, because it's us 5.
But what happens when you walk out on the stage and you hear the screams? You hear the men, the women, the boys, the girls screaming your name. How does that feel?
사실 무대에 처음
When you first get on stage and the LEDs turn on, you really can't see anything at that moment because of the light. Not long ago, we had a performance at Nagai Stadium in Japan, which held about 60,000 seats. It was the first time we played in the afternoon, so we were able to clearly see each and every audience member in the stands. It's hard to put that in words, the feeling of something boiling up inside of you.
Their latest concert tour, Made, sold over 1.5 million seats worldwide, filling out stadiums from Las Vegas to Australia. It was their first major release after a 3-year hiatus, and their comeback marks 10 years of Big Bang, a milestone that becomes more significant when you consider their counterparts. One Direction made it to 5 years, 90s boy band NSYNC 7.
You have literally grown from boys to men together. How do you manage to do that and still make it look fun?
아무래도
Well, of course there have been hard times in between, but the more time we spend together, the more time we make each other laugh, the more we have fun together. And over time, that level of closeness becomes more and more, and we are the happiest when the 5 of us are together.
멤버이기도 하지만
They're fellow band members, but they're also brothers. They're family. Because we spend so much time together, we have that kind of feeling of intimacy and a bond that's very different from other boy bands.
But I mean, you must drive each other mad sometimes. You spend a lot of time together. I mean, what do you disagree on?
I mean, sometimes, but I mean, it's not a big deal.
저희 같은 경우는 일단은
In our case, we've never fought over the past 10 years, not even once. When you look at why, it's because everyone has such different personalities and tendencies. So we don't have many occasions to collide. We're a good match for each other.
싸울 일이 없다는 게
What we mean by there haven't been occasions to fight is that we normally tell each other right away when we don't like something. We just tell each other right away, you're in the wrong for doing that. I think that's the biggest secret to lasting for 10 years.
You clearly have very different personalities, so help me understand who's who. Who would you say is the joker amongst you?
In a band? 다 상황에 따라 다른데.
It depends on the situation, but Top is the biggest joker, even though he's the oldest. In Korea, the older brother and younger brother relationship is more complicated than other countries. So as the older brother, like a friend, he makes us feel comfortable.
Okay, so who's in charge? Or who thinks they're in charge?
그런 거 없어.
저희는 다 친구라고 생각하고 사실 그런 거가 없어요.
We all think of each other as friends, and we don't really have such a thing. But because we do have work to do, well, as everyone knows, the leader of Big Bang is G-Dragon. When we do work, and when we decide on something, we each have our own opinions, but we ask and respect his opinion the most. Captain?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so next question. Who is the peacemaker? Who steps in where it gets a bit heavy?
I think him.
You? Yeah?
왜냐면 중간 역할이에요.
Because he takes the middle role in the group. He has younger brothers. I'm the leader, but also an older brother, so he balances it out very well in the middle.
His personality itself is a bit of a peacemaker.
Well,
Okay, so who's the ladies' man?
ladies man.
Right here.
Well, he's not really a ladies' man. I think Daesung is the ladies' man.
You're not denying it.
강합니다.
오피셜리하게는 레이디스맨 하면은
Officially, when you say ladies' man, many people think it would be G-Dragon. But Daesung really is the king of being a ladies' man.
king of ladiesman.
I'm always good to ladies. He's good player. He's a good player. Not playboy, but
Good to play.
he knows how to play.
Is this true?
I won't deny it.
So, G-Dragon, somebody I've heard in the past that you have been described as Tom and Jerry. Because you used to fight so
How
much.
did you know that?
Is this true?
I mean, I don't know where the word came from, but 그래 보이나 봐요. 왜냐면
I guess that's how it looks like. Because he's the youngest, and I'm the leader, that's how we met in the beginning. So I tease him the most, and he takes it well. But in the end, it always feels like he's the one that's winning. So I think that's why.
Yeah, Jerry always wins in the cartoon in the end.
Even though Tom looks stronger.
Tom bullies Jerry, but it's Jerry who wins in the end. That's why they're called Tom and Jerry.
I think they're right.
Okay, so you're Jerry.
Coming up,
And the South Korean government actually used it to blast across the DMZ. How does that feel?
Korean pop has long been regarded as one of the country's most successful exports, and one of the biggest players in the game, YG Entertainment. A $630 million entertainment company, YG was responsible for the insanely viral Gangnam Style,
Oppan Gangnam Style.
housing Psy under their label, as well as boasting a roster of 60 other talents at any given time, including, of course, Big Bang. While the numbers may seem high, training to be a K-pop star is often grueling and intense. The members of Big Bang spent 6 years practicing before their debut, standard fare in the industry.
So if you can describe to me what it takes to be a Korean pop star. I mean, obviously the training appears to be brutal. I mean, it's like you're a world-class athlete training for the Olympics. I mean, I read in the exhibition around the corner, you do 12 hours training a day.
Uh-huh.
This is true?
I mean, not 12 hours, but almost like most of the days. 근데 한국 system.
But in Korea, there's already a system that's established, and we had no choice but to go through that system. Also, we didn't have the conditions to build a new system.
근데 사실 한국에서 이런
I think how structured the system is, the 12 hours training, taking lessons, it all became more part of the system after we debuted as singers. Back when we were training, it wasn't really about systematic training. It was more just following elder singers who debuted before us. So we were actually quite lucky. But now it's much more of a system, and we do have lessons and things like that. If you look at how many entertainment companies in Korea have trainees, and the training that is in place, in some ways, it does make me worry a bit that teaching has become mechanic, and I'm not sure if that helps.
Taesong, for example, how did you feel when you started training? How intense was the training?
일단 좀
Firstly, it's quite harsh. But at some level, I think you have to have the fundamentals right in the beginning so you can focus on yourself and your feelings later and be really able to express that. So rather than trying to show your own character from the beginning, learn the basics first and eventually you can get to know what you're good at and what you like to do. It's a way to really show your colors. So even though I'm worried, I also think the system has a lot of advantages to it as well.
But he was smiling all the time when he were like training. Like, I don't know why, but we were always like smiling.
You can see how it's fitting that Daesung has been nicknamed the Smiling Angel, known to be the bubbly one. His biggest fan base might surprise you, Japan, where he recently wrapped up his solo tour. And then, of course, there's G-Dragon, probably the most famous of the five, the group's said leader and main songwriter. He started training with YG when he was just 13, along with fellow band member Taeyoung. The two were originally billed to be a duo.
That's young. You were kids. How did you cope with that kind of pressure and competition within this industry?
그냥 즐겼던 것 같아요. 그리고 그때는
I think we just enjoyed it. And back then, actually, before we could even think about our personal feelings, we just didn't have the time or room for it. Rather than viewing this as a competition, we were always busy just doing the lessons each day. We were just continuously looking forward.
그리고 또 어렸기 때문에 가능했던 것 같아요. 그러니까
I also think it was all possible because we were young. We had much more confidence and bravery just to do it without knowing better.
And because we wanted to do it so bad.
I mean, it took a fair few years before YG signed off on Big Bang's debut back in 2006. I mean, did you have moments when you thought, this isn't going to happen? We have put so much into this. We have sacrificed so much. It's not going to happen.
아무래도 없지는 않았죠. 왜냐면은
I won't say there weren't because when we made our debut as trainees, we had to get through an audition show. Even by that time, G-Dragon and I had already been training for ages, but the head of YG told us that no matter how long we previously practiced, if we didn't do well during that audition, we would have to drop out. So yeah, there were thoughts of what if we get sent home without even being able to debut after training for so long.
I mean, did you ever worry it's not going to happen?
저 같은 경우는 팀에 합류한 게 굉장히
I barely made it through the TV audition, just at the end. So I think I practiced harder, feeling the competition going on.
The Big Bang came together through a TV series. YG trainees were put in the spotlight and asked to compete against each other for a coveted spot. For Seungri, it was a reality that almost didn't happen. In the end, though, he managed to clinch the last spot in the band.
To get to this point, you have sacrificed a fair bit. I mean, do you ever wonder what would have been? I mean, do you ever have regrets that you didn't have much of a childhood or teenager years? You were part of YG, you never hung out with your friends, you never hung out down the park, you never rebelled?
일단 아무래도 저희가 너무 어린 나이부터
Because we've been making music since we were young, we don't really have memories with friends, but we do have lots of memories of us five together. Because of that, because the five of us have been together, even if we don't have memories with childhood friends, remembering the memories that we've made together makes us happier.
And finally, that was Top. He is quite literally at the top of his game. The oldest member of the group with the most diverse portfolio, a solo rapper, an art connoisseur, and a collector of chairs.
Was there one moment within the last 10 years where you as a group or individually thought, hang on a minute, we made it. Look at this, we made it.
매 순간 새로운 앨범이 나오면은
Well, every time there's a new album, it's rewarding. What we're always worried about is what's next. So for example, We put a lot of thought into the made singles, and even though the reaction was good after the initial release and it received a lot of love, we were actually thinking about the collective made album for the future.
So you released 8 singles last year. Bang 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 is one of your most popular.
Bang, bang, bang.
And the South Korean government actually used it to blast across the DMZ as part of their propaganda broadcasts. How does that make you feel? I mean, your music was being used effectively as a weapon.
Probably because the timing when our single came out worked with the situation back then. We really don't put much meaning behind it, because our music, especially for Bang Bang Bang, is loud and powerful. I think that's why the government chose to use that track in that way. We appreciate it.
Did they ask your permission?
Nah.
No.
Actually, we don't know. Actually, we don't know.
You didn't know?
Check it, yeah.
North Koreans were listening to your music.
I know it.
Yeah.
In a way.
Is that weird?
Pretty rare, but I mean, it's a good thing for us.
True. New fans?
Yes.
It's just amusing. It's fun. Just the fact that it was used in such a place, especially because the title is Bang Bang Bang.
Good choice. Bang, bang, bang.
Coming up.
How long will Big Bang last? And of course, you have the mandatory military service here in South Korea. Time's running out.
You may be asking yourself, how big is big when it comes to Big Bang? If you need some convincing, let's look at the numbers. Starting from the beginning, their debut was in 2006, which makes them 10 years old, double the age of One Direction. In the past year, the group earned $44 million, according to Forbes. That's over 10 million more than America's highest-earning male pop group, Maroon 5. To say that their fans love them is an understatement. 1.5 million people attended their last world tour, the largest tour by any Korean act ever. Madonna sold half that many tickets, playing the same number of shows in 2015. Their last concert alone sold out 65,000 seats. That's 3.5 times the size of Madison Square Garden, reportedly earning $6.4 million for one single event. And to top it all off, last year, readers voted Big Bang in 3rd place for the Time 100, the magazine's list of the most influential people. The Korean pop band got more votes than Taylor Swift and Beyoncé combined. Now that is big.
So we've looked at 10 years then, so looking forward, what is next? There is, as you know, a burning question in every fan's mind. How long will Big Bang last? And of course, you have the mandatory military service here in South Korea. You have to join up before you're 30. I mean, time's running out.
Every time the 5 of us gather, we're always thinking about how we're going to live our next 10 years. Because this is how we've spent the last 10. Of course, there are tasks and responsibilities lying ahead of us, but it's things we naturally have to do. Because we want to make the next 10 years even better. I think that's why many people worry even more, fans or the public. They worry a lot about what will happen to Big Bang. But for us, rather than worried, we're really happy and we've always been this way. As we're doing, we're looking forward to the next 10 years with an optimistic mindset.
So, I mean, Top, as the oldest, do you feel this pressure more than others?
People ask me that kind of question a lot, and they think I must have a lot of pressure. Actually, I think I'm just the type of person who leaves things to destiny. It's not about what will happen if I'm gone for a while, but it's more about being positive. Just do well with what I'm doing right now and not think too much. Let's have a new start when I come back.
When I look at him or other members, if they had no confidence in themselves, they would be very nervous about the future. But because they all clearly know what they want to do from here, there isn't much pressure.
I don't think we have that pressure about the future.
The boys continue to be quite casual, even unaffected by the topic, as well as the looming deadline. Their fans, however, are not. Constantly questioning if after 10 years of Big Bang, this is it. But it may not be all bad news. Individually, their solo careers have been taking off too.
Where would you like to be 10 years from now? Taeyang, where do you want to be in 10 years?
Whatever happens, I think we're going to continue to do things that we want and like doing. For the past 10 years, we've been able to influence a lot of people by our music and being on stage. And of course, we will continue to do things like that. In the next 10 years, we need to start to look at Big Bang in a bigger picture and not just limit ourselves to making music and being on stage. We need to be leaders in this genre and culture and become a group that can really be a good influence to many people. That's who we need to be, and that's our next step.
G-Dragon, where do you think you'll be?
항상 좀 어제보다 조금이라도
Always thinking about today, that it's a bit better than yesterday, and tomorrow is a bit better than today. And I think that's how it'll be in the future as well. We keep trying to be on a new level every day.
And Top, you're co-curating a Sotheby's sale, you're acting. What do you want to be in 10 years' time?
일단
First of all, I hope all of us make new work that didn't exist before and add to the culture, whether it be in art or something else. I want to become someone who can contribute a lot to culture. Since a young age, we've received a lot of generous love and attention. I feel like I want to be someone who always shows something new to people, proposing things.
일단 음악 자체가
First, music itself, along with the movie. It's pop culture, so we hope to be a bigger influence on the overall genre. More than anything, I just hope we're a good influence. And even though we've been continuously working for the past 10 years, we need to continue to release good music and other things.
Sungri, where will we see you in 10 years?
저는 앞으로 10년은
For me, rather than trying to do something new for the next 10 years, I think protecting what we've achieved so far, continuing like this is the most important, because it's easier to go down than to go up. I hope it is a consistent 10 years.
Finally, the legacy. What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your music, your act, your look to be remembered for?
멤버들이랑 가장 많이 하는 얘기인데요.
That's something that I'll talk about with most of the members. It's funny for us to be saying this, but many people say we have set so many records that many Korean singers have not been able to previously achieve. But we never got there by thinking about breaking those records. So even if we continue doing what we like doing, after 10 years, we'll leave a lot of good things behind us for the next generation, or for the fans that are dreaming about becoming us and becoming singers or artists.
But are we coming to the end of Big Bang?
No, not at all. 10 years.
오히려
It's more of a historical record, showing our history.
10년을 좀 기념하고 좀 자축하자는 의미, 그리고 10년 동안 저희들을 바라봐 주신
It is for us to commemorate and celebrate 10 years, and there are many fans who have been watching us for that 10 years. It's to enjoy our 10th year with them, and also to let them know to expect a lot more from the future. If it was the end of Big Bang, we wouldn't be laughing while doing the interview right now.
웃으면서 인터뷰를 하고 있지 않겠죠?
But can I take a selfie with you guys? Yes. Okay.
go ahead. Come on.